Hello everybody, Andy here again, day whatever, it's Thursday, and as I've probably mentioned before, a holiday like this, which is meant to be a bit of a chill out holiday, and certainly has been so far, means that you just get into this groove that you don't really do anything. We keep saying, oh, we'll do this today, we're going to go to the hills yesterday, and we never actually, the hills sort of villages, and we never actually got round to it. But today we did actually go into town, which is only a mile or so up the road, because they have their sort of big market day on a Thursday, and it's one of those days where, I mean, a market is a market. It doesn't matter if anywhere, especially in the UK, if you know what markets are like, they're pretty much the same over here. It's everyone selling their wares. There's lots of fruit and things like that, but the amount of shoes that people sell, and sort of the cost t-shirts and things like that, which I'm sure are the genuine article, and watches and sunglasses and all, all the sort of paraphernalia that you get, plus some sort of local bits and pieces. But the great thing about over here is that it's like a little holiday type thing, because everybody comes out, the whole town sort of comes out. It's absolutely crammed. It was so hot wandering around. It's all outside. Hopefully I'll have some a little bit of footage, not a great deal. And everybody's sort of meeting up, and then all sort of, all the families are getting together, and everyone's sort of wandering around, and it's probably the one day where everyone goes out and sort of patrols around the town sort of thing, and sort of gets to meet some people that you probably don't see that often. So that's a great thing about it, and that's one thing I've noticed over here, and it's a very much a European, even a Mediterranean thing. It's the way that the families are. I'm very guilty, as I know lots of British people are, maybe not seeing our sort of relatives as much as maybe you should do. But over here, and as I said, it's a sort of a whole Mediterranean type thing, and sort of live in extended family groups. There's a sort of a local house just over the other side here, and yesterday the mum and the dad came down, some sort of the kids came down from somewhere else, and there's a few people about, and they're all there having a great time. And you see them out, and the whole family's together out in restaurants and things like that, something that doesn't happen very much in the UK. And as I say, I'm guilty of that as well. I don't know why it happens, I'm not really sure why at all, but it's just the way that they live their life. And when the families or the people get older, they tend to live with their children, which is something that doesn't happen very often here. But most of sort of England or Britain or whatever, people are actually sort of pushing them away. No, go and live in a home. We don't want to put up with you for a while. But so that's something that I have noticed. And also, you've got the obligatory groups of old men sort of sitting around, which they do. I suppose they do it in other parts of the world, but over here, obviously, they can sit outside and they're sitting down with their walking sticks, in their little groups, sitting around having a chat, and they probably seem to sit there all day, just sort of talking about whatever, having a cup of coffee in the cafes, or just sitting in a nice shady part of town, and just having a nice little natter. So a bit like doing this, I suppose. In years to come, this is what we'll be doing. We'll be doing this instead of sort of sitting around on street corners. We'll be doing it via the internet to people that we know across the world. Yeah, there you go. So that's what's happening today. As you can see, I've got the pool behind me, and the sun's going down a bit, as you can probably tell. So, but another day by the book. Tomorrow is actually like a public holiday. The Assumption of the Virgin or something like that, and being a pretty religious country as Spain is, a Catholic country, you know that everything's going to be shut. It's going to be a family day, probably a religious holiday, and I wouldn't be surprised if there'd be some fireworks, because there's something that we have noticed. We've noticed it in previous years, that they do love their fiestas, they do love their sort of carnivals, their sort of pageants, whatever you want to call it, and fireworks especially. They obviously had some sort of fiesta thing going on tail end of last week when we arrived, because these fireworks kept getting let off about sort of 8-9 o'clock in the evening, sort of signalling something. So we're expecting that, and lots of fireworks to go on. And another thing is that they don't mind. These things are going at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I remember that when we were here the last time, about 4 years ago. And then the firework display is going off about 1:30 in the morning, and you think, well, don't these people ever go to bed? I think the thing is that they don't care. They don't eat till about 9-10 o'clock at night, and it's just their way of life. They have their siesta in the middle of the day, or don't think that's quite so popular as it used to be, but so they do that sort of thing instead. Anyway, little idea. You can probably hear the cicadas in the background. I don't think you can hear that. He's quite a noisy one, and he's got his mates out there as well. I've had a look around the garden. We've picked some figs off the trees, but I don't think they're quite ripe yet. They didn't taste that great, and I can see some of the oranges are starting to are starting to turn now and sort of ripen, which is a pity. I don't expect they'll be done while I'm here or while we're here, which is that's something I must admit. I would like to come here when all the oranges and that are out and they're ripe, and the lemons and all the other things as well, the fruits that are here, because I should imagine that must look quite spectacular. So maybe that's for another time. Anyway, I'll leave it there for today. Maybe I'll do another one fairly shortly. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for your time. I'll speak to you again soon.
Customer.